we are getting started so that those that show up on time get rewarded. Before we kick it off, I want to throw a big shout out to a couple folks who have some amazing things going on. Let me see on the screen. Actually, there's only one. No offense to everybody else, but there's only one that has something really amazing going on. And that is the mommy to be, who is in the middle of my screen, who I cannot wait to give a ginormous freaking hug to tomorrow when I see her. Vanessa. If you guys haven't seen on social media, Vanessa is expecting her first child, which is amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Vanessa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I get to be honored and sit on the far end of her camera lens tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to. That's going to be fun as well.
I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Now we just got to get Roger back here again so we can actually have a real photo shoot, not Sean and Roger with a cell phone in the office.
No, we had to get creative with that one. We didn't have a selfie stick or anything, so we're kind of sitting there trying to make it work, but it is what it is. It worked out.
Okay, so we'll open it up real quick. Who's got some cool things happening in the biz that they want to share? Anything? Anybody? Going once?
Well, I want to give a shout out to Lorraine. She was on first, Vanessa, congratulations. I said that on Facebook the other day, but it is absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, Liz.
And to Lorraine, though, for she was on her huddle on Wednesday night and she knocked it out of the ballpark. She did a fabulous job. It was great. And it's great with this kind of networking and showing and then sharing that kind of stuff. And so it was wonderful. So Lorraine, thank you again. You just did an amazing job.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Liz.
Lorraine seems to always kill it, especially you get her talking about notes. Anybody else? Anything cool going on? Anything they want to share? Anything fun? Going once, going twice. Okay. Well, before I kick it over to Roger, I got a couple quick announcements. I do want to welcome a new face to the crew, to the group. So new that I feel like I just hung up with you, Tony, and now here you are again. But Tony is coming to us all the way from sunny Florida, brand new to the TRC family. He and I actually just got done talking my early morning, or early afternoon, I should say, his later afternoon. And he's going to be coming on board. We're going to be bringing his real estate investing business on, which a number of the individuals on here fall right into your category, Tony. So you're in good company with that as well. So welcome to the fam on that end. And then let's see, the other announcement that I have. How many of you guys have noticed that some things have changed with the way the replays go out or get access to? Does anybody notice the new emails coming out every week pointing you to the replay of last week? Anybody notice that? Or are you guys just not paying attention? And I've got the other 55% that don't open emails on the call. Tony, you're off the hook because you just got started. So, but wow, we literally have the non-email openers on the call. The ones that open the emails are not on the call. This is good to know. Good thing is, you guys haven't missed much because you show up every week to the call. You guys are kind of the staple crew. Obviously, there's others that pop in and out. However, I think I said this a couple weeks ago. Roger and I's big focus in Q2, we called it enhancement. We wanted to enhance not just the service, right, that we provide as a business, but we wanted to enhance all areas of top results. And one of those areas was around the replays and around the way that the knowledge that we push out every single week in these calls can get accessed and can benefit on it. So Roger and I, we went back to the drawing board. I kind of put the task heavy on Roger, and Roger came through as he always does. This is why I call him the Google-nator, because he just kind of manipulates and makes whatever happen. But we've developed and designed a new Top Results Consulting member portal. Made it very easy for everybody to access it. So I'm going to actually have Roger share his screen and go to the homepage first. And we're going to see the first part of it, and then I'm going to share and I'll show you the second half of it, because Roger does want to do a video and I don't want him logging in and losing his status. There is a one-time password that you guys will have to put in. You'll see that here in a second, and then you'll never have to do it again on it. So to access the new member portal, all you have to do is go to topresultsconsulting.com and click on login. There's no trying to remember another domain or another website anymore. First time you go there, it is going to be restricted. Only Top Results Consulting clients are going to gain access to the password of this. So keep it secret. Don't share it with your friends, because you're giving away things that you, as a business, are entitled to. And I'm going to tell you guys what the password is right now, but you would type into that password box the word max traffic. MAX traffic. And Roger, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it capital M?
That is. I was going to make sure that you mentioned that. So it is a capital M, capital T.
Yep. So capital M, capital T, max traffic. Who can tell me what max traffic is? Who remembers? Steven, who's max traffic?
It's the awesome octopus.
It's the awesome octopus. Absolutely. If you have no idea what the heck I mean by the octopus, well, guess what? You have to go back and watch some past replays to better understand. Max Traffic is Top Results Consulting's mascot. And pretty soon, I just tasked Roger and the team, literally on the meeting right before this, to get Max Traffic on the homepage. You'll start seeing more of Max Traffic here. So here's what it happens after you put the password in. You guys are going to go and you'll land on this page here that has all the different pages. Now, currently, right now, all they've put in here was April and May, because these are the last set of calls that we had. We are working on bringing in March, February, and January. You'll start seeing those popping in here over the coming days. Myself and the rest of the team are Max, not Max Traffic, the octopus, but Max, the real human Max. He and I are going to be working on bringing these over from the old platform and getting them in. But basically, it'll be January 2021 through, and each week the team is adding them in. So you come here, here's the 3 that happened in April, and you would just click play. And you can watch it right here. There's a little description. You can blow it up on full screen here, or whatever the case. So making it very easy for you to be able to see all the different replays and access them. You just go to topresultsconsulting.com and click on that little login button. Okay. Anybody got any questions on that?
I tapped into the Top Results website site. I have it. I didn't see that, so I didn't see that this new site you're talking about. But I'll keep playing with it.
You're on topresultsconsulting.com.
Yep. Okay.
You're not seeing our website?
Yep. Okay. I'll keep going. I'll play with it.
Share your screen real quick. I want to make sure
you gotta click the login button.
I want to make sure everybody's good. So share your screen. Yep. Click that login button.
Right here. It's right here, Sal. This is, I'm sharing, Sean, just so you know. So once you go to Top Results Consulting, you're on the home page and you confirm that's step number 1, right, Sal? And then you go to the navigation bar, click here. I just want to make sure that for everybody, it's working properly. There is a chance that maybe there's some cache happening within your guys' server or whatnot. We cleared our cache on our end. So it should be as easy as you clicking this and it redirects you to this member portal. So definitely let me know, Sal, if you are not seeing this.
Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. And I think we got Max the human on here. So Max, do me a favor and go ahead and clear cache again on the on our server, just to make sure now that we have that comment, just to be 100% sure. So, all right, sending it over to you, Sean, once again, to see if you have anything else.
Yep, nope, that was all the big announcements that I had. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Roger. He's going to be wrapping up tonight a 3-part series that we've been on around this, and I'll just kind of hand it over to you to take it from here.
Awesome, man. All right. So before I kick off here, I wanted to kind of share something that was pretty cool. Always good to see these type of either text messages, messenger, or anything like this. But once in a while I get these, and these are perfect for me because later on in your guys' day, it's my early morning while I'm getting up. But I'm going to see if you guys can see that. This is the first thing I read. Oh, got our first organic lead. So that's a huge win for one of our clients. Once again, we always talk and try to give away as much as possible, as much value as possible on these calls. You've seen our journey. If you've been with us for a while, you've seen our progression journey through our packages, and we continue. Sean and I continue to kind of make changes to those packages to try to see how much value we can add, or just kind of learn from you guys, right? What the need is and what the industry need is overall. So what we've done is kind of make a couple adjustments to those, but this is a good example of someone that was basically on a foundations level package, right? Or lower level package. And they just been doing, once again, it's not, John Campbell has been on a couple of these calls, but he's not constantly on these calls, but what he does a really good job. Him and his sons are always out there doing stuff, networking. So there's traffic. What's happening, what I saw with them, and this is different for everybody, right? For example, Mickey's team, awesome on social media or on YouTube, right? They've been doing a lot of stuff on YouTube. So that's where a lot of the pings come from. This particular team with John, they're out there networking. So a lot of people are going naturally, organically to the website. So that's causing natural traffic, which helps them boost up in the rankings. And at the end of the day, guys, the higher you are in those rankings is where the traffic that doesn't know you, right? The people that are actually looking for you. So sometimes it does take a little bit of push to get involved with your own network, to kind of ping the website, to make it go up a little bit in the rankings. So those people that don't know you find you when they actually put in some keywords. And I think it was Sal last week that said, when I was going through how to lay out the actual blog post and talking about keywords, is should you guys assume that your guys' websites are already, to a certain point, already optimized for a lot of these keywords? And my answer was yes, right? To a certain point. So a lot of your location pages that you kicked off with, like I'm looking around kind of the lineup here, and there seems to be a lot of real estate investors type website clients that we have on here. All those, I mean, we hit all the major kind of keywords on there, but there's always opportunity to make yourself even more unique by adding more to those pages. And you can easily do those by looking at them, getting some ideas, whether it's adding a case study, whether it's adding an extra paragraph to a certain section. And all you have to do is put it in an email, is send it to support@Top Results Consulting. And that should be an ongoing process for you guys, because you guys are always doing some action. You're not always closing deals or flipping a house or doing anything with real estate, but you probably are going out there and looking at homes. You're probably going out there and networking. So how about seeing how you can involve some of that activity into your content? What did you learn? Add another piece of value onto those pages. And that's what we call fresh content in the SEO world. And that's what causes Google to re-index your page. So with that fresh content, and you consistently making small edits to pages, Google is constantly coming to your website and making refreshes in their index, which absolutely pings them to say, hey, this particular company is very active, right? They're a real company, they're still in business, and they have continued to add value. So let's award them by moving them up in the rankings a little more. So just a couple things there. So if you guys have been with us for a while and you haven't touched your website and it's been a couple months, maybe it's time to go back, take a look at some of the past blogs. I said it last week, don't think you have to go back and write new content. You can always freshen up your existing content. I haven't seen, Vanessa, you've been super busy, right? You've been out there getting married and doing all this stuff. So you've been doing other stuff. So it's probably, you haven't been able to touch your website in a while. So for someone like Vanessa, I would say, Vanessa, don't go out there and stress yourself out by trying to think of new content, right? How about take a step back, go take a look at your website again, right? Get reacquainted with it. Look at those blog posts that you put up and that we created for you and see Now you have even more experience. I mean, I see you every day almost doing Photoshop or photo meetings and stuff. Yeah, shoots. That's what you call them. Doing photo shoots. So I'm sure from when we first started to now, you probably have a whole different perspective and experience and things like that, even testimonials, right? So those are all things that you can be adding to your website to give it more stuff. Go ahead, Vanessa.
I actually have a draft email to support to do edits on the website that I started writing like a month ago.
Awesome.
So yeah, I just need to finish it up and send it.
There you go. There you go.
Emails don't get action.
Yeah.
Emails get action.
I know. It's ready. I'm in the process.
Awesome.
I
So
need to send it out this week.
Yeah, definitely get it over to us. That goes for everybody, right? If you've been with us for a while and you haven't touched your website, you've been on these calls. I think I remember hearing this quite a bit when I was going through my learning process, not only college, but YouTube videos and all this stuff, trying to kind of get the inside scoop. All teachers and influencers and all these people that are putting out knowledge, at a certain point, they literally tell you, you have to stop watching videos and put some action into play, right? Because you can consume so much, but if you don't put it into action, nothing's going to happen. So if you've gotten some stuff from us, from other sources, I mean, try it out. And you have the support, right? You have us. If you're on this call, that means you're our client, which means we're going to take care of you. So send it through, even if it's a question to see if you should be doing it, right? In some cases, we might say, whoa, that might be a bad move. So it's always good to ask. So what I wanted to do today, and just to finish off our series, today we are going to be getting into probably the most important kind of checkbox or factor when it comes to SEO, and that's link building and how to find links, what they are, how it works, and why you should even be looking for these and setting them up. But before we go there, I want to recap on some of the things that we talked about, because I see some faces on here that probably haven't been on the last 2 weeks or maybe missed a week or whatnot. So just keep in mind, we are going to be adding, actually, we already added the videos for the past 2 sessions that I did on the portal. And Sean kind of explained to you guys how to log into the new portal there. So feel free to go in there and watch those past ones. But let's go ahead and recap just so we have some context on how to get into the link building conversation today. So on 2 weeks ago, when we first started this, I kicked this off, and I'm going to share my screen here. Let me see here, share it. Here we go. So we kicked it off with something called the 3 pillars of SEO. So for those of you that were on, and actually for those of you that were not on, basically what I did on that week was get a little technical. We didn't really do any direct task that you could do and apply. It was more learning the foundation. So if you haven't watched the 3 pillars of SEO, please do yourself a favor, go watch that, because the reason I say it's almost a must is because you have to understand what is needed. There's more to SEO than just kind of building links and content. There's a lot of the technical stuff, the foundations that you, by hiring Top Results or an agency like us, don't have to worry about it. But I think it's important to have that knowledge, because this gets important when things start getting tight. What I mean by that, when we're going through a business and we're building, we're always looking for, what's the most effective way to do something, or the most affordable way. You got to make sure that you're putting your marketing dollars or your operational dollars in the right places. And what this particular video was all about, or this session was all about, is kind of showing you how important it is to have a good foundation for your online presence, right? And your website is the main thing that I'm talking about here. Because even say we talked about, if you have a website with us, or you have a website outside thinking about bringing it to us, or keeping it on your own, I pointed out some important things to look for, like the hosting, the security, and a number of other things. I'll kind of scroll through a couple of things here so you guys can see, if you didn't see this session, what you can learn. Here we'll go to. So here, the 3 pillars are technology, content, and link building. So obviously I kind of break everything down at a technical level, right? Once again, there isn't any direct task here. It's just kind of knowing what this is all about and how it all works and how it's important to have that strong foundation. So that was it. That's all I wanted to kind of talk about on that recap for that first week. I'll let you guys go back and rewatch that if you need to. So I'll stop sharing here. And then week 2 of our session here was more geared towards the keyword research topics, right? Keyword research topics and how to utilize those keywords in your content, how to kind of lay them out. And that's where I think it was Sal that asked, should we assume that our websites are already optimized? Obviously, I said it earlier. I said yes, but there's always more opportunity. I just kind of explained it to Vanessa. We built Vanessa's website. We did some research. We added some keywords, but Vanessa's coming back a couple months later with a ton of new information. Same with you guys. You guys have probably more information you can always add to these pages, and you have to leverage our team, right? Your team. We are your team to go ahead and implement those into these particular pages that are important, right? The ones you want to rank. So in week 2, we got into more strategy, more tools that you can utilize. And that's where we kind of covered a couple keyword research tools. So I'll kind of name them off here for those of you that weren't here. Uber Suggest is one. Google Trends was a cool one to kind of compare. Once you have a keyword research project, a list, you can actually compare which keywords are more important than others, meaning there's more trend with it. It's trending up or down, right? Not that you're not going to use them, you're just not going to use them as main titles. And then we also explored the tool answerthepublic.com. So Answer the Public is another very, very strong tool that you can use to find keywords and keyword topics for your content that you are going to create. And then the final technique that I showed was called the alphabet soup. And that is as simple as using the Google search. Just going to search, start typing in something that you would type in if you were looking for your product or service, but don't type it all in. What you want to do is type in half of it and let Google give you those results. And then those you put on a list, because those are also keywords that people are actively putting into Google, or else they wouldn't be on that drop-down list that they give you. So watch that video. That one's really important. I wanted to throw one more in here that wasn't mentioned last week under this topic is Facebook groups. I can't believe I forgot that. That was actually one extremely important one. One thing that we push is these networking groups or these industry topic groups on Facebook. Now, what do I mean? How are you going to leverage those type of groups for keyword research? Well, keyword research is all about finding keywords that you can then create a blog post or some kind of topic, right? Well, in these Facebook groups, there are a ton of questions happening. There's a lot of activity happening. There's a lot of questions. Well, guess what? Those are the things that are actively coming out of people's minds, and they're looking. And the reason they're putting them in there, say they're just for example, they're other photographers or other investors, right, in these groups that are actually asking these questions. Well, guess where those questions are coming from? Their clients, which means you're getting it straight from the clients. You're getting active information. Those groups become extremely valuable for your content topics, okay? So we'll leave it at that. We are now going to shift a little bit, and we are going to start talking about link building, okay? So let me see here. We're gonna go down, we're gonna kind of discuss a list, and then I'm gonna in detail kind of go through a couple of them where I don't want to overwhelm as well on some of this stuff, because I don't want you guys basically thinking that you have to hit every keyword or every link building strategy. You don't. You have to probably focus on between 1 to 3 of these 12 strategies that I'm going to show you, and that's it. I'm even going to recommend some that are the easiest ones that you guys can focus on, and that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else because it can get overwhelming. But what I want to do is make sure that you guys are educated around what's out there, right? Because maybe once you get more advanced, you might want to try some of these other ones out, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And I should be sharing an infographic here. Just give me a thumbs up, guys, if you guys can see that. Everything good? Yep. All right. I see it. So this infographic here, it kind of shows the 12 top ways to acquire links. So before we get into how we're going to acquire links, let's talk about why you even need links, right? Why you even need this stuff. So when we talk about links, and I'll unshare for a minute so there's no distractions there. So why do you even need links before we get to those 12 kind of strategies? Is links are a way for Google to identify who's popular. Think about that. It's for Google to identify who's popular, right? So let's say Sean and I basically go into a job. We apply for the same job, and Sean and I have the same skills, right? Let's just say we're very, we're well prepared. We have the same years of experience. We have the same education. We kind of bring a lot of the same stuff to the table, right? So when the hiring manager looks at our resumes and puts them side by side, he's kind of like, man, these are my top guys. These are what I got to, but I only have budget for one. Only one of these guys can be hired at this position, right? So what they're going to do is look at every little aspect that they can to compare these two people. Well, guess what? What happens in the real corporate world, I know it's not fair sometimes, but it all comes down to who you know. If Sean just happens to know the CEO or happens to know some of the VPs or just happens to know some of the top managers in there, and this particular hiring manager goes to them and says, hey, do you guys know these guys? And they say, yeah, I know Sean, he's a good guy. Oh yeah, next person. Oh yeah, absolutely. I know him. It's like I play ball with him. He's a great guy. And he continues to get votes, or he continues to get recognition, right? From outside sources. Well, guess what? Even though they're going to hire the guy that has the more authority, the more trust, right? They kind of trust him because other sources are trusting him. It works the same way with online, right? With your websites. So when we talk about having your technical foundation set up, that's important because your website needs to run very smoothly. It needs to load quickly. It needs to be technically sound and healthy, right? Number one. Number two, you have to have relevant content on the website. Obviously, if you're a photographer or you're a real estate investor, you need to be talking about those type of topics. You need to be answering those type of questions for people that might be looking for questions around that industry, right? So that's how you start adding value to yourself. And then the backlinks are the ones that once you do everything right and you're competing, you and your competitor are racing up the rankings, right? Well, Google needs to make a decision on who's going to be going up and up and up. Well, they eventually default back to the backlinks. And they start looking at, all right, both of these websites or multiple websites are very well structured, good content, everything's on point. Now we need to make decisions who's going to rank on page one, even more important, who's going to rank on position 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, right? Well, they start defaulting back to the links, all right? So if nobody is creating links, all they're doing is focusing on their on page, which is their content and technical stuff, which is awesome, right? It's still great. But then you decide to go out and get somebody. Let's just say you go to top results. We're going to use an example. You go to top results and you say, Sean, I need a backlink. How about I'll be a guest on your podcast? And then when you shoot the podcast and you put it on your website, can you put a link mentioning my company? That's a backlink. Basically, top results mentioning your company, putting a hyperlink from the topresults.com website over to yours. And in the content, we're saying, hey, this particular company, this is what they're doing. We're doing podcasts, they're teaching something, right? Or we're asking them some questions and they're linking back. Now that's a backlink. Now you got to get creative and figure out how many of those kind of authority people or other websites you can get to then kind of get some backlinks from, right? That's what I'm going to get into on some of these strategies so you can get some ideas. But since we do have a lot of real estate investors here, I am going to give a quick example and a quick kind of potential, right? Because it's very strong. A lot of you guys are part of a group called Fortune Builders. So I know, because I've seen other of our clients basically get highlighted as a testimonial or as a project highlight, right? As a win. right, on their website. Well, guess what? Fortune Builder has been around for many, many years, and they've gained a lot of authority with Google, their website, fortunebuilders.com. So if you somehow get in there and get into one of these spotlights, right, and they mention your company on their website and they actually link back to your website, ding, ding, you just got a very, very strong backlink. Just kind of giving you guys an example. Now, if you are a part of other groups, anybody that has a website, right? Maybe you have, other associations, other, your Chamber of Commerce, and you create a profile on your Chamber of Commerce websites, right? You're able to put, and they allow you to put a backlink on there, or I'm sorry, your domain on your profile. As long as it's hyperlinked, that is a backlink back to your website. It's a profile backlink. Okay. So that's another way to actually leverage some of the profiles you already have. Another one that should be a given for you guys that's very, very strong is your Google My Business. So if you guys are a local business and you have what's called a GMB or a Google My Business profile, which is probably the most important profile outside of your website that you should have, that allows you to put a hyperlink back to your website. Again, that's a backlink. So those are kind of like the citation or directory type backlinks, and those are important. Those are the easy wins. All your social media platforms, now that I mentioned Google My Business, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those are profiles. All of those are backlinks. So the more, basically what you're doing is getting as many votes as you can via backlinks on the internet, talking about your brand. That way, when you go to compete and you're competing against somebody, guess what? If you have the same value on the website, but you outwork them by going and creating all these profiles that are talking about you, those are just votes for you, and you will win that race all day. Okay. So now that you guys kind of got the, the wheels kind of moving there in the backlink direction, you kind of understand what a backlink is. Let's now look at the actual kind of infographic. Go ahead, Sean, you have something.
Yeah, just before you shift on, I just want to drive this point home. And actually, it's more a question for you.
Sure.
Early in the stages like this, does it matter how strong or not strong the authority is that they go after?
Great question. That's actually a really, really great question. Let me start with backlinks don't even matter if you don't have your foundation set up correctly, right? So those of you that are just kicking off right now and just kicking off and looking at your website, maybe a month, 2 months, don't worry about backlinks. Worry about your website and the content that's on there, right? Number one. Number two is once you've actually looked at your website and you're kind of comfortable with it, you know exactly what's on there. Maybe you sent in some edits and you're happy now with that and you're ready to move to the next thing. You're kind of asking Sean and Roger, what's next, right? What can I do? I'm excited. Let's go. Then you start doing backlinks. Now, it's okay to actually go after even your friend's website, something a little lower authority, just to kind of like get some action going. If you guys wanted to trade links, now you guys are, for those of you that do some research, you'll probably see a ton of blogs that say, don't do this, don't do this. Well, it's okay. It's not going to kill you. It's actually okay to trade links, right? Maybe you put a resource page or you mention one of your not maybe a competitor, that's in your market, maybe someone in another state, but you guys maybe write a blog and you mention that person, right? And that's how you would do a backlink for your friends. That is absolutely fine to do. But what Sean is getting at is there will come a time where your website itself has enough authority, kind of like Top Results. We've been at this a little over a year, kind of pounding kind of value on the website and the authority on Google, right? We have special tools that show us kind of how our domain authority is doing, has gone up. We would no longer go after smaller websites to backlink to us, right? You don't want to do that. You always want to go after websites that are more authoritative than you. I'll say that again. Once you start gaining momentum, you want to go after websites and getting backlinks from websites that are more authoritative than you. Because what happens is if you start becoming kind of higher and higher in the authority space and you start getting backlinks from lower people, then it starts looking like spam, right? It starts looking like a reverse. You're reversing the process or reversing the progress on your website. Google wants to know that as you move up, you're making more valuable friends, right? More valuable votes. So they want, as you move up, they want higher authority people linking back to you, because the more popular you are, you're probably getting known by bigger people, more important people, right? More important websites in this case. So that's what Sean was kind of gearing towards. Anything else, Sean, before I kind of get into the 12 strategies? Nope. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and Sean, if you can do me a favor, I can't see the comments once I share, but feel free to stop me in between one of these and we can definitely discuss it. So give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to share. All right. All right. So I am sharing my screen right now. So we'll start through these. I did I want to start by saying these 12 strategies, you don't have to use them all. I recommend using 1 to 3. That's it. Pick 1 to 3 of these strategies to focus on, because these are just what's out there in the world. All right. So the first one, testimonial link building. What is that? Well, you guys have seen when you buy a product or a service, you're able to leave, in some websites, you're able to leave a testimonial, right? You're able to leave something, a review, and these reviews tend to get posted on the person's website or the company's website. You now know how link building works. You need a hyperlink on someone else's website that links back to you. Doesn't matter, as long as it's a hyperlink somewhere in there. Well, guess what? If they allow you to put a testimonial on their website and it's a hyperlink of your website, and this is kind of for this strategy, this is an example. It's basically you leaving a testimonial on I don't know, you bought some kind of protein drink, right? Let's just say, a protein drink, and you bought a protein drink and you really liked it. You go to the website, you're able to leave a review, and you just happen to be kind of a personal trainer. You have a personal trainer website, and you literally put a review. Man, I took this protein drink. I loved it so much. I recommended it to my clients. This is basically who I am. Boom, hyperlink to my website. And I would continue to use this product for my clients. I kind of sneaked it in there. I sneaked in my URL or my company name right in the testimonial. That goes live. I just created a backlink without even asking those people. I actually earned it by giving them a testimonial. So that's kind of a quick example of the testimonials. Roundup, we're going to skip the roundup. Not important. I don't want you guys focusing on this one right here. Resource page. Resource page, I do want you guys to focus on this because this applies to just about every industry. So the research page's type of links is, for example, let's use Vanessa. Love that you're on this call, Vanessa. I can use you as an example outside of real estate. So for photography, maybe she goes to another photography type topic website, and there's a page that has resources or has links to other tutorials or articles that are for their particular clients. Well, Vanessa would go through that resource page or that tutorial page or however that client or that person set it up. But it just has information, right? And it's links to other websites, and a lot of websites do this. There's links to other websites, and she goes and checks and runs a test, and there's always broken links. And you guys have seen this. It's frustrating. You're researching like, oh man, I love this. I want to read about it. You click and it's a dead link. You're like, man, it just makes you angry, right? For you guys that are looking to do some SEO and some backlinks, that should be a ding, ding, ding. That's a great kind of green flag for you guys, that now you should look for the email, right? Go to the footer, look for that website's email them, right? And tell them, hey, nice to meet you. I'm a professional photographer. I was looking through your resource page and I noticed this particular article has a broken link. Just giving you a heads up. If you are interested, you might want to link my article that I have on my website. Here is the link. If you have any more questions, I'd be more than happy to, give you more information. Thank you. Just like that. Non-salesy, just giving them a heads up. They have a broken link and you just happen to have an article that's talking about that topic that they might be able to link to. Now, a lot of people might say, but Roger, I actually don't have that topic. Well, as SEOs, guess what? And now you guys have this knowledge. you're going to create that content before you write that person. So that is the trick there, that you will look for these opportunities. That's basically what this strategy is. You're looking for opportunities that then you can create that content to write that email to that person and make sure that they use your resource, because now you're leveraging their traffic. So now when people go to their resource page and they click on that link, it will redirect to your website. Not only do you get the benefit of having a strong backlink from that particular website, but you will benefit from getting free traffic from their network, okay? Next one is extremely important. This is already something that's happening for many of you guys. If you are in our higher packages, Content Pro and above, actually we tend to, in Content Pro, we do this a little bit. In Accelerator and Dominator, we do it a lot, but it's called internal linking. So internal link building is basically when you take your existing content on your website, and you create what's called a silo, right? Basically a matrix, and you know where all the content is, and we put it on a board or you know, kind of like a diagram for us, and we find relations, how they can interlink together, meaning you end up with something that looks a lot like Wikipedia. If you guys ever went to Wikipedia, you would actually kind of read through an article, and it seems like every other word is a hyperlink. Well, it's a hyperlink to another Wikipedia article talking about what that word means, or a definition, or a topic, or talking about whatever it might be, right? That's what we turn these websites into, because for Google, it looks at that as user experience. You're actually helping the user understand your content by having more deeper links or deeper content that explains the content even further, okay? So interlinking is great. So those of you that are in our lower tiers and you want to possibly kind of try your hand at this, what you want to do if you're going to be sending over your own content, your own blog post, what you want to do is make your own kind of like diagram, right? So that way, when you send a blog post over and it's about, let's use real estate just because it's top of my brain right now, I can probably kind of use that. Say you're talking about foreclosure, right? And you really want to target Cleveland, Ohio, and you're, you know, that's basically one of your location pages. Well, you might want to say, hey, I want to title this, how to, you know, the foreclosure process in Cleveland, Ohio. I want you to interlink this to my Cleveland, Ohio city page. And I also want you to link this over to my, maybe another version, right? Another piece of the foreclosure process that you have, another blog post. So it can actually interlink with multiple pieces of content. So when someone's reading through the content, they can actually at some point link over to the city page, because maybe they're ready to sell their house. They're going through foreclosure. All right, I liked what I'm reading. Click here, and it takes me to the city page, which is more of a seller page. Opt in, right? We'll buy your house right now. Opt in. The other one is maybe there's a definition that you mentioned within that content where you wrote a blog post all about that definition. Well, boom, they click that and they go to that. But they stay within your sphere of your website, which is movement. At one, it's time on page or time on website, which is awesome. That's one of the check boxes that we look for SEO. So Google loves that, stays on the website, but it creates a good user experience. All right, let's keep moving here. Expired domains, we're gonna skip. That's more advanced. I don't want you guys dealing with that. Guest blogging. Guest blogging is what we do quite a bit when it comes to our higher end packages. Once again, our Content Pro and above is where we start kind of getting into some guest blogging. What is that? It's basically us creating a topic, right? Creating a content, a blog post, right? But it does not go on your website. We actually go out, do the research in your industry. We look for bloggers that are talking about your industry. We recruit them. Basically, we email them and say, hey, we have a client. This is their topic. We have free content that we're willing to give you so you can put it on your website. All you have to do, Mr. Owner of Blog, is put a hyperlink back to my client's website. And even further, we're very strategic on this. I want you to link to a specific page on their website, because maybe we're trying to target a certain city page or whatnot. So we have them link back to a very specific. So that's how our strategy becomes very honed in and very intentional. when it comes to what we're trying to rank for or where we need more push. So those are guest blogs. These are very important for your SEO. These are easy to do, but you have to go out there and find those bloggers. And in some cases, they'll charge you a little bit of money. You'll create the content. It's up to you. So you still got to pay for the content, right? If you're going to get a creator, you write it, your time, and then you're going to reach out to them. In most cases, they'll say, hey, I'm going to charge you $20 or I'll charge you $100 or whatever, depending the authority of that website. It depends sometimes what they want to charge you. I always say, hey, if it's within your budget and they are pretty authoritative, and how are you going to find out without getting too technical with tools and all this stuff, looking for domain authority, go to their social media pages. See how many followers, see how much activity, how much, comments they have on their posts. If you see a lot of activity, all day worth it, right? So I can't give you a number on how much what is worth what, because everybody's different. So it's all about you reaching out and what's within your budget. Okay, so we're going to keep going here. Strategy number 7, broken link building. A lot like the resource pages with broken links and things like that. We're going to keep going. That's kind of the same thing. Reverse engineering, a little more advanced. I'll mention this because maybe some of you guys might be getting into that. Reverse engineering is basically going to your competitors and trying to research what backlinks they have, right? Getting a profile of their backlink portfolio and then reaching out to those exact websites that they're linking back. That way you're kind of doing exactly what they're doing, because if they're ranking high, their link portfolio must be working. So how do you do that? Unfortunately, in this case, it does require some advanced tools, some paid tools. We use something called Ahrefs, and we're able to pull that data, and then we can start kind of looking and reverse engineering our competitors' portfolio of links, okay? We're gonna skip newsjacking. Influencer marketing is another one that might be in your guys' realm, depending on what industry you're in. I think like real estate investors, yeah, it might be a little challenging, but it might be worth kind of looking at. There are some influencers online that will actually charge you to give some kind of mention on their website or their social media platforms for your company. They'll charge you something. That's basically how this works. It puts your brand in front of their audience, which kind of sometimes creates noise, sometimes it doesn't, right? So it's a little bit of a give and take and kind of a little bit of a risk, but in some cases it's worth it. So that's what influencer marketing is all about. Data-driven content, we'll skip that for now, and link reclamation. Yeah, we don't have to cover those. So I know we're running short on time. I want plenty of time for questions. I know we got about 10 minutes. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop sharing, guys, and I will be more than happy to bring this diagram back or this list back if there are more questions on these. But let's go ahead and stop sharing. And Sean, let's go ahead and open it up for questions and go from there.
This is your guys' time. What you got? Roger just like fire hosed the hell out of everybody. So I know there's got to be a question. Because if there is no questions, then one of two things happen. You're still trying to figure out the first word he used, or he did such a great job of explaining it. You're all experts, in which case you don't need us anyway. So what we got?
Okay, so we just talked about this with Lorraine doing our being on our show, and Marie jokingly said to her, well, we'll figure out how we get you the backlink then, so that this is part of your, on your website or whatever. So I guess it's things like that if she wants it.
Perfect example. You guys record those and put them to YouTube, correct?
Yes.
In the YouTube description, simply mentioning Lorraine and hyperlinking to Lorraine's website coming off the YouTube description creates a backlink from YouTube to Lorraine.
Okay, so we go and we put the description. In the description, we put her name and then her link back to wherever she wants it, whichever site it's going to
Correct.
be.
Mentioning the business and hyperlinking, making sure that it's actually a hyperlinked link in the YouTube description.
Right, back to her. So Lorraine, you're gonna have to just send that to Marie and I at another time where you want that, but we'll get it put up there then.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can actually give a quick, I'm going to share my screen real quick, just so, I want to be very clear because a lot of you guys are doing podcasts, you're doing, you're getting interviewed, doing all this. I want to make sure that you leverage this because months can go by and you forget about this when months can go by and you did it and all that link is just marinating, giving you power. Okay. So let's make sure we knock this one out of the park so you understand that. So whoever did the podcast, whoever owns the video, right? Whoever's going to post it on their YouTube channel. So you probably interviewed the other person. So what you're doing, you have the interview video here, right? You're going to put whatever your topic is. Hopefully you guys can use a keyword, meaning think about the topic you guys talked about and do a Google search. Start kind of looking what the popular keywords would be for something like that and use that as your title. Number 2, make sure you geotag it. So I would geotag it whoever's YouTube channel where it's going. I know the other person might be in Phoenix, Arizona, and Lorraine, you're in the Bronx. Well, Lorraine, if you're putting it on your YouTube channel, I want this geotag to Brooklyn, right? Or the Bronx, I'm sorry, to the Bronx. And then in the description, you are going to go and describe what you guys talked about, a synopsis, right? Make sure that you kind of talk about a brief of what you guys did. A tip is to drop more keywords. Go through my process, watch that video again. How can I find keywords around this topic that you guys talked about? You want to sprinkle those in here. And here's your hyperlink to maybe, I'm going to guess because knowing Lorraine, we've talked about notes, right? You're doing notes. Maybe it's a specific page or if it's going on your website, Lorraine, this would be a link that you said that you're interviewing Liz and Marie. So this link would be to one of Liz and Marie's kind of website. So
she was on Liz and Marie, which means
goes the other way
to her. So yes, it should be linking to your notes page.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's kind of the structure. So you guys kind of see what the structure. You need this to be a hyperlink for it to count or get the most bang for your buck.
Now,
it's probably the most important.
Why are we saying do it to YouTube, Liz? Because at the end of the day, your authority isn't as high as YouTube, right? And since you guys are recording these and posting these to YouTube already, leverage the fact that it's on YouTube. That is going to create a more powerful link back to Lorraine than if you were to just say, hey, we're going to put it over here on lizandmarie.com as well and link there because lizandmarie.com is still trying to build its authority, right? That's not as much of a benefit to Lorraine.
Okay, I see. And then that's on the weekly huddle stuff too. So we can actually, Sean, that's a good point because we can use it almost in 2 places then because that's the weekly huddle was where she spoke.
Yep.
But we can certainly put it on our website or on our site too, as because it still relates with the real estate stuff on there.
Yep.
Boom. So, you nailed it. 1 link from YouTube, 1 link from your website. Awesome. That should be a straight process. Yep.
So I did that with Jordan and it worked well also.
You did it?
I did it with Jordan. Jordan did a presentation on our group. And so he had the backlink to our YouTube. And then I had his, I took one of his blogs to put on our website so that he can have a backlink on our website as well.
What else we got? Questions? You guys never ask on the call, and then I get hit with emails.
No. Here's my question.
What do I do? What's the next steps? I don't know what I should be doing right now. I get them every week from multiple different people.
Okay, so I have a question. Testimonial link building. We're all using TRC and loving it, but I know that we're already also on your website, right?
Yep. So a lot of you guys that are using TRC, we're automatically putting graphics on our website. We've been a little slow lately on putting up some of the newer projects, which we talked about before we got on this call. But yeah, we put a hyperlink. We try to kind of give you guys a hyperlink right out of the gate through our website. Now, since the domain is also gaining some authority, that's going to help you guys out.
should I then reach out to, you know, like a skipping company or virtual as VA companies that we use to ask for my testimonial so that I can be, they can cite I can developer on their website?
I would be going to your contractors and saying, hey, I'd love to give you a testimonial. Can you put it on your website and link back to us? I'd be going to your title companies, your attorneys, moving companies that you've worked with, agents that you've worked with that maybe have either their own site or can put something to the brokerage's site. Just think, anybody that you conduct business with that you're saying, hey, me, Mickey with Ekin Developers, I want to give you a shout out and a testimonial. In exchange, I'd like you to post it to your site and put my link of my website in my little bio of that.
Great, thank you.
What about doing with, oops.
Go ahead, Tony. No, go ahead, Tony.
What about doing it with Facebook or something like that, like with groups there?
What do you mean?
Yeah, go ahead.
In other words, you know, the groups that we're members of or groups that need real estate information, linking back that way.
I think you're talking more posting a link in Facebook. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Hold that thought. I'm going to let Roger explain the difference between a backlink and a social mention here in a second, and why I want to hit real quick why we don't want to go posting a bunch of links all over social media, because it doesn't help the algorithm. It crushes your algorithm by you posting a link. And I've done some trainings on this in the past. We'll get back into that in some time. I know you're just kind of joining everything here, but I'll let Roger explain the difference between what you're talking about is more social mention, and it's more powerful if you get somebody else to do it, not you do it.
Exactly. So Tony, great question, by the way, because that one right there, a lot of people, to your point, use this off social media strategy, which it should be, right? You're going after websites, talking websites. When we start getting into kind of the realm of social media, you got to be very careful because all social media platforms are always changing. So they can either benefit you or ding you, right? Meaning go negative. So in this case, to stay safe, we do what's called a social mention. So basically kind of just mentioning your brand name, your company, not necessarily a link, right? Forget about the links on social media for now. If you can mention your company, it's like if someone's having a conversation with you and they're starting to get to know you, guess what? You already have a backlink on your portfolio, or I'm sorry, on your profile, on your Facebook profile, so they can get it from there. So you're safe there. There's already something linking back. What you want to do in the groups when you get into that conversation is get your company name in there. You want to put, hey, we help with foreclosure. We just happen to be XYZ company, right? Investors out of Ohio. And this is what we do. You just kind of plugged in your brand name. That's a social mention. That also gets picked up by the overall algorithm on the noise around your brand. And that's what we try to do on social media, social mentions of your brand as many times as possible. Even better, if your brand name, your company name is associated with one of the services. XYZ investors, and associated somewhere in that comment with foreclosure or divorce or something. Now Google and Facebook understand, oh, this is an investor that buys houses from this group, right? This type of person. So that's kind of a good strategy there on how to associate keywords.
I do that a ton. I'm in a ton of small business owner groups, and when I see threads coming out about websites or online marketing or digital something or whatever, I always try to chime in with my 2 cents on how me and Roger and Top Results Consulting run our digital marketing agency and blah, 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 because to that point right there, Top Results, digital marketing agency, it's starting to draw the correlation. Great question.
Absolutely.
Who else?
I had a question about how to figure out how much authority a company has. Like, what's the minimum that you think would be beneficial to the site or my site?
So you have to search all their keywords, add them up. You have to assign points to the number of times that they are in number 1 spot. That's 10 points. Number 2, I'm kidding.
I was just like, wait a minute, I'm gonna stop writing right now. This is not gonna happen.
Oh, that's pretty good. I got a few of you guys to be like, what? Roger, go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, no problem. Sophia, that's good. It is a little bit, there are 2 ways, right? There's kind of like a beginner way and a more advanced way. Let's call it that. So for you guys here on this call, want to make it as easy as possible. So if you're looking for authority, the easiest way for you to actually decide whether you're going to go after this website, this is simple. I want to keep it very simple. You're going to go, say you're doing it for a contractor. Maybe you're working with the contractor. Let's just use that as an example. And they have a website. Go to their website. Make sure it's not broken or missing, or, sometimes on Chrome, you go to a website, and if they don't have what's called an SSL certificate, meaning that little lock, you can't see the site. It has a big red page. So you want to make sure first the health of the website is good, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is once you get there, click around, make sure you feel comfortable being mentioned on that website, right? That's not, something that's, you're kind of like, man, I really don't even want to be mentioned on here. That's number 2. Number 3 is probably the most important one. If they have social media, even if it's one, most people don't have, contractors, maybe they don't have time for all this, but they maybe have a Facebook page. Most of these companies have a Facebook page. Go there and see how much action they have in there. How many followers they have. Is there a minimum? No, something. We want something, because I know a lot of people don't have an agency like us working for them. We just want to know that they exist and they're active. You might know that they exist and they're active because they're working for you, right? But as long as they have something set up, they're money. They're yours. Go and try to give them a guest blog. Create a guest blog, 500 words or more, whatever you want to create. I would recommend 500 words or more, right? Minimum. And then give it to them. And write something that's related to you and them, right? Maybe you're going to do maybe an experience that some of the work that they did for you, and you write a blog post and you give it to them. And then you kind of embed your hyperlink in there. They'll put it up there and you get it back. That's the easy way. That's for you not to use any tools. All you're doing is just doing some research about their brand, their online presence, right? And once again, I say, go after it. As long as it's nothing kind of completely out of the box that's shady and it just doesn't look professional, then I would say go for it. Number 2, there's something called, if you go to moz.com, moz.com. So Moz is an SEO type informational platform that has tools. Don't buy anything. Do not buy anything. Do download their free Moz bar. It's for Chrome. And basically, it's basically a toolbar, and you have to kind of get an account with Moz, and then they give you a little code that then when you download the extension for Chrome, they ask you to enter that. What's going to happen is going to make a little bar appear, and you're able to now, that bar literally will tell you the domain authority of that website. And what they're basing that number off of is their link portfolio. So depending on how many links they have is how they start raising that number, but also the authority of each link that's coming through. So say they're getting a bunch of low-level links, that authority score won't go up too much. But if they're getting very high authority links to that website, then you'll notice those numbers are bigger. And usually the bigger companies, more corporate companies get them. So for you guys, that number is from 1 to 100 is very rare. Even Google, Facebook, these big Pepsi, these companies have in the 80s to 90s, right? For us, the smaller companies, we're more interested in 1 to 10. That's our first goal, 1 to 10. And then eventually, once you start kind of like maybe a year into a website with a platform like us, then you're shooting for 15 to 20, right? And that's how you start kind of moving the needle more and more. Obviously, that's why our Accelerate and Dominator packages are available, because that's where we start getting into link portfolios, right? We start building those links, content structure, and you start getting that authority. Because with the importance of getting that number up is basically the higher the number, the easier it is to rank your content. So the higher the number, the easier it is to rank your content. Why? Because the higher the number, the more know, like, and trust factors you have with Google. which means it's easier for Google to say, yep, I trust you. You wrote something. I trust that you did the right thing. Here you go. Boom. And they tend to rank you a little higher like that. Instead, right now, you guys out of the box doesn't mean you cannot outrank these other people. What happens is you got to create a blog post. Then you got to, try to get links to it or get some people to go visit it to get momentum to show Google that people are visiting it. Sometimes you have to manufacture some of those things because you go to your friends and family and it's like, hey, go check this out and stuff like, well, that starts moving the algorithm a little bit, pinging the article and starts getting momentum. But when you have that authority, you don't need that. Google automatically has that trust and tends to give you a little bit of a higher position. That makes sense?
Yep. Thank you.
I still like my answer better. Anybody else?
When you guys setting
Steven,
up
you better
the-
hit the mute button.
When are you guys setting up the TRC web ring?
Web
The what
ring.
now? I'm sorry.
Web ring? Do you remember those?
Oh man, yeah, you want No, I think we're gonna stay away from that, man. So basically Steven wants us to get into the dark web. We're not gonna go there. all white hat strategies here. Maybe later, Steven, maybe me and you have a conversation.
I like not having men in black suits with earbuds showing up at my door. All right. Anything else? Anybody? Any other questions? All you guys are experts now. So 3, 2, 1, get ready to rock and roll. Take off running. Okay. I am going to reiterate a couple things that Roger said. Again, if you have not been putting a lot of focus on the content side of things, everything Roger just went through tonight is not ready for you. You aren't ready for it, kind of thing. Okay. Go back, really pay attention to last week's training on the keyword research side of things. Go back into early April and really watch and understand the couple trainings that I did previous to this series around what type of content you should be creating for the what we call top of funnel, the awareness education end of things of your customer's journey, and then what content should be created if we're going to try to move them down the track a little bit, because it's two totally different types of content, which then you have Roger's ammunition of saying, okay, if I'm going to create a content piece that just brings awareness, let me do some keyword research around that. If I'm going to create content that's more educational, more salesy, kind of trying to move them to the next stage, all right, let me do some keyword research on that. Okay. You got to understand where's the content fall in the journey so that when you're doing the keyword research, you're doing the right research for the right type of content. Put a lot of focus into that. Okay. Then in time, as you start to get a lot of stuff going on the site, you got that hang of it down, then you can start worrying about some of the stuff that Roger just went into. For some of you guys though, the Lorraine's, Liz, Mickey, some of the Steven, you guys have been doing a lot as well. This is kind of next step, right? Mickey, you've asked the question, I've written blogs, how do I get them to rank? It's time to start pushing your authority, right? This is the fun side of it. It's also the heavy lifting and it's the work on it. And it's not always the glamorous work. So I want to remind you guys that we also have services available to help do this for you, to get this off your plate. Okay. Don't hesitate, reach out, let Roger and I talk to you a little bit about what's really involved. We've moved some things around. I did put a comment in the chat box here with the link, but it's just go to topresultsconsulting.com, hit the pricing page. You'll be able to see all of our different packages. Roger and I did move some things around to try to get some of this more next level type things coming in that Content Pro package level, okay? Where we're able to start doing some of this for you guys each and every month. So you don't have to stress too much about it. But for some of you that have been with us for a little while, this is the next tier. And if you really want to start taking this serious, we got to start looking at that next layer so that you can keep moving the needle. If not, you're just going to it'll move, but it's just not going to move as fast as you probably want it to go. Okay. Anything you want to end with, Roger, before we sign everybody off?
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna go. I think everybody's still hanging on. Yeah, looks like everybody that started is still with us. So I'm gonna give one last tip here. That's a little bit kind of outside the box, not really on anybody's playbook, even though it's done. I think you guys have an opportunity, since you're smaller, kind of medium to smaller companies, to get some momentum. I've been kind of going through our client websites, and a lot of you guys are starting to get indexed. A lot of you guys are in lower competition markets, so your location pages are starting to get some momentum into page 2 and 1, right? So remember, there is a page 2, 3, and 4. It's not all about page 1. So it's okay if you're on page 2 or 3. That's just showing that you're moving. Because if you guys remember, when you guys started with us, most likely you were on page 100 or didn't exist, right? So now when you start getting into those page 1 to 5 or 10, that's actually a positive. That means you're moving in the right direction. So what I would say is for you guys to try what we've been saying. It's a little bit of a trend that we're seeing is branded searches. So even though sometimes your location pages are not ranking very high yet, meaning my We Buy Houses in X city is not working, so you can't tell anybody to say, hey, go look up We Buy Houses in Baltimore and find something right on page 1 and click it. What I want you guys to do instead of that is every time you come across a family member, a friend, or someone that's asking about your business, and you want to kind of show them what you have going on, obviously run this test on your phone, make sure everything's working properly. But you're going to say, hey, open up your phone real quick, do a Google search and write down, tell them your company name, right? Tell them your company name. And then it should pop up with some results. Hopefully you're winning the top result there at the top of the search result. Have them click that. That is called a branded search. That means someone went like, hey, I want to see what Pepsi is all about. They put Pepsi, well, Pepsi.com comes up number 1. For you guys, you want as many branded searches. What we're seeing is a trend that Google is what I call, but what I've kind of seen the content revolution, where they're trying to kind of remove a lot of bad content, crappy content, fake news, right? So they're trying to remove a lot of that stuff. So branded searches for companies are becoming very important, and it actually starts gaining momentum for you guys to start moving the needle and getting some of that authority, Sophia, that we had talked about, right? That number kind of actually helps you because traffic. It's one of the major boxes that you check for SEO. And that's an easy win for you guys, because what you want to do is get as many branded searches and as many different IP addresses, right? So you can't go, for example, I'm using Sophia, she's right in front of me here on the screen. So you can't go in your house and go to your family members that are within your house, right? Because even though they're using their different computers and phones, it's the same IP address. But if you go outside to the mall and you go with your friend shopping, tell her to look up your website, do a branded search. You go somewhere else, tell them to look it up. That's different IP addresses, different Wi-Fi's. That's what I'm talking about. The more of those you get, the better. And that's just what we call a little bit of a gray hat, right? It's manufacturing traffic, but the whole point is to move the needle and get you to the high traffic positions, which is page 1, position 1, 2, or 3, right? In order to do that, if you want to wait all day for it to naturally happen, by all means, right? I'm giving you some tips here that you have full advantage because you guys have a lot of people in your network that you can easily tell, hey, go check out my website. Just do a Google search my company and click on that result that pops up. I just want to make sure it's working properly. You can tell them that, and people will go check it out all day. Now, an extra piece to that we don't want to happen is you're going to have to tell them, hey, scroll down and check it out, because we need them to stay there for at least 3 minutes. Minimum. Because if you have too many of those people going and they're like, oh, this is great, Sophia, and then they bounce, it's called bounce, right? Right away, that's bad. That's a high bounce rate. So that means basically Google looks at that as like someone reaching your website and there's no value on it, so they leave right away. But if someone stays on there and scrolls up and down and maybe kind of like looks at the video that's on there that you might have put, that's why video is important. Video has a lot of uses. When you put a video on there, that's why we say it's like maybe a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That just keeps them on the page, right? Not that it moves a ton of stuff, but it keeps them on the page. So that's another way to kind of keep people on there. But you do want to make sure that those manufactured visits, that they stay on there for at least 3 minutes. So that way, you start getting benefit from those. Does that make sense?
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
You want that per
Every-
keyword?
Hold on 1 second, Stephen. Everything that you commonly would reach or answer. Somebody reaches out to you and asks you a question about your business. Everything that you would commonly answer with, if you can find a way to turn it into something on your website to tell them to go there to get it. Think about how many times you guys have asked me or Roger something in the group leading up to you becoming a client. And I constantly push everybody, go to Top Results Consulting. People will message me, hey, I want to get on your calendar to talk about how you can help me. Go to topresultsconsulting.com, book a call with me. Why? I want you going to the site. I want you on the site. Somebody asked this question. Hey, I got a blog on that. Go check it out on my website. That'll help you answer it. Everything you do, you should be looking at how do I make them go to my website to do that? And you might not have all the elements right now, but these should be clues like, I keep getting asked this question. Why don't I write a very detailed breakdown of that process and make it a core piece of my website? And now whenever they ask, I can send them the link so that they can go to it. Or I can tell them, go to whatever.com and check it out. And to Roger's point, if it's a video, how many of you guys think we rebuilt the portal just for the hell of it? Why are all the videos on the website? Because this call is 1 hour and 20 minutes long. So when you go to watch the replay, you're on our website for how long?
Hour and 20.
1 hour and 20 minutes.
You're getting hits.
That's right.
Why we
Think
looked
about
at
it, how
and
you can
said,
use
why
that
the-
for your company.
Why are we going to do this? Why are we going to use another platform where you're spending all your time over on their website? Why not build it into our own? So think about in your own business, how can I create videos? Liz, Marie, why did I want all of those videos on your website? When they watch it, the whole breakdown series that you guys created, they're spending time on the website.
So they're
Time
not on
site is
YouTube?
huge. What's that?
So they're not on YouTube?
If they don't hit if you notice on the video, it has the word YouTube. If they don't click the word YouTube and take them over to YouTube to watch it over there, they just keep watching it right there. It counts to your site.
Okay.
So derivative of that, in your main public page for YouTube, when you say, hey, go to our website for more information for the full lesson, whatever it may
All the
be,
time. I mean, this is
then
getting
you
into
can-
a deeper training, but yes,
yeah,
if you pay
and you can
attention
send
to
them to
good
that
YouTube,
page.
they always send you back to the website for something. Why?
And that video can actually be still on YouTube, but you can only be visible if you have that link. So you embed that link in there, and then you still get the traffic both ways, but they're on your site for it.
Correct. That's getting
So
a little more
Tony,
advanced.
Yeah, I just want to kind of show Tony and anybody else that might have had that question, because if it's coming up, probably other people are thinking about it.
Well-
So here, it does go on YouTube, right? But we also do what's called embedding the video in here. And they can literally click this button and watch this video on this page without leaving our website. That gives you the benefit. Now, they can also click this little icon of YouTube and redirect to YouTube and watch it there. We lose kind of like the time on page, but most people don't do that. They'll watch it right here. So that's what we're talking about. That's how you keep them on here. It's just another aspect, another feature where that works in your advantage.
Okay, thanks.
So like someone like Vanessa, who's constantly got people reaching out wanting to know about her photography services. Instead of her chatting like crazy in the DM about it, yeah, you want to have a little chat in there, it gets to know some people, but you just have to be smart. And at a certain point in that conversation, say, hey, you can get all the details over at photographyinheels.com. Go check it out. Because I want them over there, right? That's going to help me more than just sitting here in Instagram chatting away in the DM like crazy.
Roger,
Real
when
estate,
you're-
same thing. What's the first question they always ask? Hey, what's your process? How can you help me? Why don't you create like a 3 or 4 minute long video that explains that, put it on your website. When they message you about that or ask you that question, you can say, hey, here's a quick video where I walk through the whole thing. Check that out and then let me know if you want to get on a call and talk about it.
Roger, when you do those branded searches, are you doing it for each of your keywords?
No, the branded searches are strictly for your company name. So what we want to do is win the company name keyword, right? The name of the company. That's and that's for now, Stephen, I think that some clarification there. When you're brand new and your city pages, which what we call your SEO pages, because those are the ones that are meant to rank, right? The sales pages. When you're new and those aren't ranking well yet, they're still kind of, way up there in page, 80, 50. That's when you're kind of working on your branded searches. Once you start getting momentum, I'll use, I think do we still got Jacob on here? Yeah, Jacob's still on here with buildingappalachia.com. I've been doing a little bit of research on their website, and they've been with us for a while. And some of their location pages are starting to do pretty well, right? But maybe the location page is doing well, but it's stuck on page 2 or 3. Keep in mind, you were on page 100. That's actually very good. To get it into page 1, now Jacob can start saying to his friends and family and whoever he's connecting with, if he wants to manufacture some hits to that page to move the needle, he's like, hey guys, go to Google and Google "We Buy Houses Charleston, West Virginia," or like WV, right? Whatever the keyword is. And then when you do that, you're going to get some results. I want you to go to page 2, or I want you to go to the bottom page 1 where you know it's at, right? And you're going to find my link. I want you to click on it, and then you run your process. Make sure they stay on here for 3 minutes. And now you're going to move that particular page up with a little bit of manufactured traffic.
Here, we'll do an example. I just put a name in the chat. Open up the chat, either open up a tab or grab your cell phone and go to a search bar and just type that name into search. And the very first one that pops up, not the shopping ads, because there's a backpack company that's got a very similar name that pulls in. But the first one that shows up on the feed, click on it, scroll around, click around on that website. Do you guys find it? Sophia, I see you got your phone. Turn around. Let me just see that you're. Did you do it? No, she grabbed her phone and just started texting.
Into it. Sorry.
So now, that website, that's one of our clients, Decine Botanicals, right? I had you guys go into Google, type in Decine Botanicals, find it, click on it, and I'm asking you to move around on it. This is what Roger's talking about, a branded search. All of you are in completely different areas, all on different IP addresses. So now this Google's seeing all these little pings happening around this term, Decine Botanicals, and people clicking over to the site. That's a bonus.
So how do I know which one? I'd have to scroll all the way down to the.
Not all the way down, just scroll past the shopping ads. There's, if like my phone here, it shows there's backpacks that show up, but then you scroll and this very first organic.
Oh yes, I see it. Okay.
Click on that. And you should land on a website that looks like this.
Yes.
Right? And look, what's the first thing that's right here?
Video.
Yeah, it's not very long, but if you clicked on it, it's 1 minute and 33 seconds long, right?
It's been used to relieve pain for centuries. They call it an all-natural godsend.
What is the typical Kratom user? What do people use it for?
They're using it really to fight pain, and a lot of them are using it to fight depression.
I am Kratom. I am a mom. I'm a friend. I'm a licensed professional who runs her own business.
How I use Kratom to actually quit painkillers.
I'm a disabled vet from the 82nd Airborne Division. I do take Kratom daily.
I found that the Magnum strand's like excellent before workout.
I am Kratom. Kratom has changed my life.
I am Kratom. I was doing about 90 pain pills a day for 7 years.
Had about 15 years of my life go by in a blur of opiates.
You could roll me up, stick me in a garbage bag, and put me out at the curb, and that was about all it was good for.
Kratom represents a great starting point for developing new, safer pain relievers.
It's a plant that helps people.
What do you guys hope comes out of this?
That I get to keep freedom in my life because it saved my life.
I'm just tired of pain.
So who can tell me? What does that brand do?
It relieves pain.
Pain reliever?
Helps with pain.
Yeah, it's a natural pain reliever. It's a natural plant-based thing, right? And I showed you a 1:33 long video. So if I had no idea what this was and somebody told me, yeah, go check out the Kind Botanicals, I jumped on it, right? And I land on that site, video, it kept me there for about 1.5 minutes. And was that video something special? No. I'll tell you right now, the person that created that video chopped a bunch of other videos that they found all over the place to make it. 90% of those videos came out of an 1 hour and 45-minute long documentary that he just chopped up, chop, put it together and made a promotional video explaining what the heck this product is, because it's a new product. But now if I'm new to this and now I'm on that site for 1:33, right? To Roger's branded search point, you went and searched the Kind Botanicals. You found it, you clicked on it. The more you can get people doing that, our top results consulting, why did our authority skyrocket in such a short amount of time? Well, one, we pumped the hell out of it with content. That's step one. That's what we've been teaching. Content. Valuable content, right? Not just a bunch of junk. But number two, we constantly push traffic to the site. Whether it's telling people to go to it, telling people to look it up, giving people the direct link to drive traffic over to it. So in a very short amount of time, Google started seeing, wow, they put out a lot of good content and people love it because they're always coming to this site and they're doing stuff on it. We're going to start to trust them a little bit more. So in the coming weeks, we're going to get a little deeper into this topic of manufactured engagement, manufactured traffic. We're going to talk about some other ways. However, you got to have the stuff on the site, which is why we've done it in this strategy. You need to understand what types of content, right? Where does it fall in the journey? Roger helped you to understand, how do I do some keyword research? For some of you guys that have been doing this a little bit better, now you understand, how do I start getting some power out of it with links? Over the next couple of weeks, we're just going to spend these calls kind of helping you guys answer questions. Those that are taking action, show up, ask away. We'll help keep guiding you. And then in a few weeks from now, we're going to kick off another series where we talk about, now that you got some stuff out there, how do we manufacture it? How do we manufacture the traffic instead of sitting back hoping that people actually show up on it? Does that make sense? Cool. Well, with that, I'm going to end the recording.